Hi, welcome to John's Tarot. This is a little commentary I did on the emerging collective consciousness. Things are changing, and people are changing with it. And you may be wondering why I changed from doing John's Tarot, where I did tarot readings based solely on fortune telling. I'm not doing fortune telling anymore. We're doing something that is more substantial, trying to lead people and the collective into a more aware state. And that's what my John's Tarot is about. So enjoy this little presentation and send me an email. Let me know what you think. All right, thanks a lot. Welcome back to John's Tarot. I'm John, and today we're exploring something profoundly important, something many of us feel intuitively but struggle to articulate. The shift from the old paradigm of group-defined identity to an emerging collective consciousness rooted in self-awareness, authenticity, and higher perception. We are living in a moment where the consciousness of humanity is changing, not subtly, not slowly, but dramatically, and you can feel it. People are questioning old assumptions, institutions losing their unquestioned authority, and individuals are awakening to a deeper inner life that can't be contained by political labels, religious dogma, or cultural expectations. Today we'll explore what the old consciousness looked like, why it's collapsing, how the emerging consciousness differs, the role of individuation, and why this shift matters for the future of humanity. For most of human history, consciousness operated through belonging first, self second. To belong meant safety, community, predictability, acceptance, a sense of identity. This belonging often formed through dogma, political dogma. I'm MAGA, I'm Democrat, I vote this way always. Religious dogma, unquestioned teachings, rigid morality, inherited beliefs. Cultural dogma, people like us do things like this. Family dogma, unspoken rules about behavior and emotion. In this paradigm, the group tells you what is right, what is wrong, what to believe, who to trust, and even who you are. This system isn't inherently evil, it's just limited. It worked in earlier eras because humanity didn't yet have the psychological development to step into individuality without losing cohesion. But the cost of this old paradigm was high. You lose your voice, you lose nuance, you lose the ability to think for yourself, you lose connection to your deeper self. The world becomes binary, us versus them, good versus evil, right versus wrong. And once you surrender your identity to a group, you also surrender your moral agency. But something is happening now that is breaking this pattern. The collapse isn't political, though politics is where we see it. The collapse is psychological and spiritual. Several forces are converging. The spread of information, greater exposure to other perspectives, the breakdown of traditional authority, the rise of trauma awareness, movements toward authenticity and mental health, a collective fatigue with hypocrisy, corruption, and polarization. More and more people are realizing, my group is not always right. My leaders are not always honest. And staying loyal is not the same as staying conscious. We're discovering that belonging can become a cage, that dogma can eclipse truth, that polarization is a sign of collective immaturity. The old paradigm doesn't break because people become rebellious. It breaks because people become aware. And awareness makes old structures obsolete. So what is replacing the old paradigm? Jung might say we're moving toward a more individuated collective psyche. This new consciousness is defined by awareness of the shadow, questioning inherited identities, curiosity instead of certainty, seeing both sides of an issue, recognizing projection, integrating the persona rather than living inside it, seeking truth instead of validation, accepting complexity. In the emerging consciousness, You don't outsource your thinking. You don't need a group to tell you what is moral, what is true, or who the enemy is. You're guided by inner wisdom, higher reasoning, emotional intelligence, empathy, discernment, and a commitment to inner truth. Instead of defining yourself by what group you belong to, you define yourself by who you actually are beneath the conditioning. This creates a strange new world, one where individuals can disagree without dehumanizing each other, where solutions emerge from seeing the whole picture, not from defending one corner of it. This is consciousness evolving. Individuation, the lifelong process of becoming your true self, is the engine behind this shift. When individuals do the inner work, confronting the shadow, questioning the persona, integrating opposing traits, developing intuition and reason, reclaiming authenticity, they become less dependent on group identity for meaning. An individuated person doesn't need a political tribe, a religious authority, a cultural script, a social media echo chamber, because they are anchored in their own self. And when enough individuals do this work, the collective psyche shifts. Individuation is not only a personal journey, it's a contribution to the evolution of humanity. Your awakening affects the whole field. The emerging consciousness does not reject religion, politics, or community. It simply refuses to let these structures define the self. Here's what the new consciousness looks like. Seeing both the light and the shadow. Every political party has wisdom and blindness. Every religion has depth and distortion. Every ideology contains truth and danger. Moving beyond binary thinking. Life isn't either or, it's both and. Complex problems require complex perspectives. Emotional responsibility, you recognize projection, avoid scapegoating, and stay accountable. Curiosity instead of creativity. Instead of defending your belief, you explore your belief. Compassion for the other. When you understand your own shadow, you stop needing an enemy. Truth over identity. You choose truth even when it challenges your group. This is what maturity looks like, both individually and collectively. Why does this shift matter? Humanity is facing real challenges: economic instability, environmental change, institutional corruption, social division, loss of meaning. These problems cannot be solved by dogma, blame, or blind loyalty. They require clear perception, emotional maturity, and honest evaluation, the ability to integrate opposites. The emerging consciousness isn't just an upgrade. It is a requirement for our survival and evolution. If humanity is going to move forward, it will not be because one group defeated another. It will be because individuals awaken. You may feel the shift within yourself, a discomfort with rigid labels, a desire to think for yourself, a pull towards authenticity, a willingness to see complexity, a deeper compassion for others, a quiet sense that consciousness itself is evolving. If so, you are part of the emerging collective consciousness. This is not rebellion, it is awakening. The more you heal yourself, the more you help heal humanity. Your individuation contributes to the transformation of the whole. Thank you for joining me today on JohnsTarot. Stay awake, stay conscious, and stay connected to your own inner truth. Until next time, be careful, be cool, be kind. Remember, find strength, have courage. All right, I'll see you all next week.